G'day guys, my name's Will Austin. I come from Indigenous background. Back home my people are from Mornwall. They're from the Gunditjmara country, from the Framlingham Mission in southwest Victoria. I'd like to pay my respect to the old people who have cared and still care for this beautiful country we are able to live in today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people, or the traditional custodians of this land, and I pay my respect to any elders past and present, and also to any elders that join us here today. It's really important to do a welcome to country, because one of our ideas is that after we pass away here on earth, our spirit moves up to a place called the Warrnambool, and the Warrnambool is what we now call the Milky Way. After our spirit stays up in the Milky Way, we can't live there forever. We have to return back home to our country, where our people are, where we belong, and we do that in the form of a shooting star. And so when you see a shooting star come, that's an old spirit returning back to country. It's important that we do welcome and acknowledge the countries from back home, because it's paying tribute to that cycle, that it still exists in the Aboriginal culture that connects us back home to our land is still really strong. So whether we are holding an event like this, performing cultural ceremonies, or even just walking through your local mall, it's important to recognise and respect the Aboriginal land that you're on. Today I've been invited to reflect on, firstly, a little about what it means to me to be Aboriginal, and secondly, where I think we are in terms of the reconciliation process in Australia. It's not a choice in one's life to be this or to be that. I believe being Aboriginal is the core of who I am as an individual. It's what makes me, me. It's who I was yesterday, and it's whom I will be in the thousands of years to come. It's simply who I am, and I cannot change that, nor would I want to. The fact that I'm part of the longest living culture in the world is why I'm so proud of where I stand today. I gained the confidence to get up here and speak to you today through my imagination. Right now I see the 1,500 generations of Aboriginal people looking up at me, passing on the role of guide to my generation, to continually immerse ourselves to keep that Aboriginal culture alive. As I grew up, I was always connected and surrounded by the love of family, Aboriginal community and culture. I come from one of the biggest extended Aboriginal families within Victoria. I loved marching with my elders and family through the streets of Melbourne in the annual NAIDOC celebrations, attending many community events with the playing of the didgeridoo, ceremonial dancing and Aboriginal concerts. It was natural and beautiful to me. But in saying that, sometimes it can be hard for me, being a light-skinned Indigenous young man of our community. For some people it seems hard for them to accept the fact that I am Aboriginal, receiving statements and questions such as, "You're not Aboriginal, you're not black," or "You try to be Aboriginal, but really you're not." Or the most common one of all, "Yeah, you may be Aboriginal, but what percentage, like 3/4 or 1/8? At times these statements really can start bringing you down. It creates confusion and doubt. You start asking yourself who you really are. It's almost as if I'm forced to navigate myself between two worlds, to be myself in my Aboriginal world, and to be the person other people perceived or wanted me to be in their non-Aboriginal world, whilst not sacrificing my Aboriginality in silence to suit others' opinions of what and who they see and feel comfortable with. All this on top of still having to exist in the world that I stand in front of you today. It's come to me over the last couple of years that as long as I know who I am and you know who you are, then that's all that really matters, as that is the start of living a successful life. This notion of having to walk between two worlds does not sit right with me or make sense to me at all. When I step out the front door every day, I don't park my Aboriginality and leave it behind. I don't closet my Aboriginality every time I put on my school uniform. In fact, my Aboriginality will be the one thing that is always going to be with me through everything I do, everywhere I go. Which means for me, it now becomes a world where to be successful is to be Aboriginal. To be a leader is to be Aboriginal. To be alive, breathing, feeling is to be Aboriginal. To live a life of compassion, love, honesty, family is to be Aboriginal. I often imagine how beautiful this world would be if discrimination based on individuals' origin or race never existed. Each and every one of us here today has the right to be proud of your identity, who you are, and to live and breathe it, just as it is my right in harmony, devoid of racism. Within the past 13 years, my dad has often said to me, "It's not a perfect world yet." But the change from his era is phenomenal. What he saw with his eyes and his bad experiences as an Aboriginal, not for a second would have he even dreamt about reconciliation and the positive things that have emerged. Dad always says, "From little things, big things grow." Words from a much loved song by Aboriginals. For me, Reconciliation is that acceptance of realising our differences, but not only accepting them, celebrating them, as much as defending what we have in common. It's about recognising that we all have a valid point of view, no matter how different it may be. And at the same time, as reconciliation weaves its way through this country of ours, my elders have been able to heal from their hurt and painful experiences and memories of their past, celebrating watching the young ones grow up in a safer country than what it was for them. At the moment, we are getting stuck in the past and dwelling on the history that has already been made. We need to start seeing things with open mind, open heart, and fresh eyes. Reconciliation provides an incredible vehicle and vision for the future of unity and respect for all Australians, dispelling the outright myths and historical lies of Aboriginal people. It is up to our generation to together put things right. Don't wait for politicians to do it. They come and go. Reconciliation is the people's movement. We need to close the gap in all aspects of life, because at its heart, true reconciliation is not just about the past. It isn't just about the history. It's about linking arms, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, moving forward, creating our own history as a whole, and leaving our own footsteps behind for the generations after us to follow. It is my intention as an Indigenous member of my generation to do whatever I can to assist the generations of my people who have come before me and will come after me to feel safe, empowered and proud. It is also my intention to assist our country in whatever small way I can to effectively manage and progress the lives of Indigenous people within our civil society. The practical and symbolic sides of reconciliation are impossible to separate, because that sense of who you are and how you feel about yourself is intrinsic to how you behave and how you shape solutions to problems that affect your community. It's about the sense of how connected you feel to fellow Australians. If you believe you're an outsider, you're an outsider. If you believe that the rest of Australia has no respect for you or your culture, then for all intents and purposes, it doesn't. These things are self-fulfilling. We have to find the symbolic basis as well as the practical basis for living together and bringing out the best in one another. All in all, the progress of reconciliation in Australia is slow and steady, but can definitely be seen. In 2000, we saw Cathy Freeman run an amazing 400-metre race, winning a gold medal in Sydney. Draped over each shoulder and her heart was both the Australian and Aboriginal flag. This was her heartfelt plea for this country to heal. This moment showed Australia getting behind our people. In 2008, we saw Kevin Rudd give an outstanding national apology to the stolen generation, which relieved pain and suffering of many Aboriginal people. This was close to my heart because my dad was part of the stolen generations, removed from his mother's arms at 7 months of age for no other reason than being Aboriginal. He was placed in orphanages and foster family placements, only to be reunited with his mother and family 17 years later. I believe that right now, 2014, is our time to take another, bigger and better step forward in the reconciliation process. It's up to each and every one of us here today to contribute. Open your heart, open your mind and see things through fresh eyes. Be willing to take that step. It's in your hands. Thank you.